Hi, and welcome to this interview with my beautiful friend Lysa Black. My name is Karina Ladet, and I'm an intuitive channel and healer. And today we have the immense pleasure to say hi to Lysa Black, an amazing heart healer and the author of 2 books and one of my dearest soul sisters. She's a great inspiration, and I love how you do business, Lysa, and I love how you do life, because it's so much in alignment. And yeah, I just love how you do that, how you connect all parts of who you are and show yourself authentically. So hi and welcome, Lysa.
Yay! Thank you, sweetie. So lovely to be here with you.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. And it's so lovely because Lysa and I, we talk regularly, and it's like inviting someone into this conversation, right? The soul to soul connections and conversations that we have. Because I'm launching a new program that's called Embrace Your Purpose. And it's all about how to do business intuitively and how to use your guidance to grow and expand your business. And this is something that I love how you do, Lysa. And I would love for you to share a bit about how you have used your intuition and your inner guidance and your energy connections to start your business, maybe, and how you use it to expand and grow your business.
Yes, let's dive into that. I think what's really lovely is that all of us have been led and guided to do what we're doing. You don't get past the conception of an idea without the illumination of spirit confirming that it's the right thing for you. So I remember I was just newly married to my husband in New Zealand for the first time as an Aussie, and I started as a gym manager. And so that was my first job here, and I loved working with people. I loved helping them to improve, but I found the conversation wasn't deep enough for me. We could only talk about food and exercise, and So I really wanted to become a life coach at that point, and I just followed those good feelings. And then I quit that job and just began to become a life coach because I really enjoyed it. And I think what's beautiful is that as we act on inspired guidance, we feel the benefits of knowing that we're on the right path, hey?
Mm. Yeah, and that's so beautiful, isn't it? Because sometimes it's not like our guidance says, okay, here's the plan. This is step 1, step 2, step 3. It's going to lead to this, right?
Yeah. And you wish it would. It would be so, we think it would be easier, but then we wouldn't feel as free, and we wouldn't have the sheer joy of actually engaging with spirit and trusting our own hearts and allowing that. It's like, whenever I get closer to something that's really in alignment for me, my heart kind of glows or buzzes, and it brings me so much joy. And so for 8 years now, I've been standing beside people initially as a life coach to help them with weight loss. And then I devoted myself to just binge eating alone because that was my own background, healing my own anxiety and eating disorder. And then from that, I started going, wait on, I kept on doing emotional work beneath the food-related issues. And I thought, I'm not really doing food issues. I'm just helping people that have, eating disorders with their emotional healing. And that's when I went, oh my gosh, I don't want to hide that. I realized that I was kind of hiding my true work behind the work that I thought would be socially acceptable and the work that had a conversation that I felt comfortable in. And so, launching my first book actually revealed me as a healer. I remember so much trepidation around the word. But as soon as I just was like, I have to do this for me, I think what's so powerful in our businesses is that it has to have that powerful dynamic of really being soul devotion to ourselves, but then devotion to the women that we feel called to serve. It has to flick both ways, hey?
Yeah, it definitely does. And I love how we think the work is one thing, or it is for a while, and then it goes deeper, and then it goes deeper, and then it goes deeper. But it's not necessarily what we thought we would be doing when we first started. So it's kind of like we're exploring and discovering more and more of who we are, and then we guide people through that process, which makes it always I guess, exciting and like an adventure in a sense, doesn't it? Because it's like you never really know, and it always feels like this is not the end either. It's always going to evolve, which makes it also interesting. Because otherwise, if it's like, okay, we'll be doing this for the next 20, 40 years, maybe not so much fun.
Yeah, and it can get stale and it can get routine and it can get a bit cog turny. You know, I think ideally our businesses and our lives can be a reflection of our own soul progress and our own soul growth. And I think really, if you really are working in, you know, being an intuitive and being a healer, I think that's what we're really in it for. We're in to really understand the human condition. We're really there to tend and serve souls in deep service to our own soul. And I go, it doesn't get any better than that. You know, what I think is interesting is being a professional healer means that you literally get to justify investing your time and energy in learning about healing yourself and other people. And I go, it's such a rich journey. Do you know what I mean? And I think more important than the work that we're doing or where we're going is that process, hey, of really tuning in and feeling. I guess what's been interesting for me lately is I threw goals away after about 5 years in my business and realized that the moment I created a goal, I also set up resistance to create that goal. Mm-hmm. So then I started intending and I started going, based on my true heart's desire, I'm going to intend that this come forward to benefit me and others. But then what was so interesting, and I'd love to hear what you think about this as well, is I'm getting to the place now where there is this sense of alignment where the things that I genuinely desire are actually what is meant to happen. So coming back to that quote from Rumi, that what we seek is seeking us. And understanding that as I've evolved and changed through my business and through my different offerings, I think we fear loss. And so we go, oh my God, if I go from being like a professional expert in helping people overcome binge eating and tell them I do emotional healing, you have no confidence that there is a market there that are going to resonate with you. Do you know what I mean? It's very difficult to change because when we can get money in one way, it's scary to go, oh my God, who's going to pay for this?
Yeah.
Can I do it? You know? But for me, I pay no attention to how it will be perceived or whether people will value it. I go, is this what I feel called to do? Because if it is, you can bank on there being people that are seeking for that right now. They're looking for you. And I think it's so comforting to understand that as healers and intuitives, often we don't want to place ourselves first. We really want to place our client in the primary focus position, serving them, honoring them. The reality is if you're not self-honoring, it's going to be out of alignment because you're not going to get the growth and the clarity on your own path to really attract the clients who are going to perfectly resonate with you.
I love that. And to me, it's always ultimately about trusting, right? If I trust that this is right, then I have to trust that it's all going to fall into place. And I feel like it's like we die and then we're reborn again, and then we die again, and then we're reborn again. And
I love dying. It happens kind of every 3 months. I'm like, that woman is dead and gone. See you later, old Lysa. I'm glad I warned you.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's like, it's really, I did not realize that it would be like this, but it's exciting. At the same time, it's just so, I guess we're being so really called to expand beyond anything that we could have imagined. And it's just a crazy ride, but it definitely goes beyond us and beyond just our own personality or even our own lives. It just does feel like there's something much greater happening and we're a part of that. So we have our own thing to do, but it's still like being, I guess, held and surrendering to that which is greater than us. And then we're part of this movement all of a sudden. And we have clients who are part of this bigger movement. And then it transforms into like changing the world. And that was not my intention when I first started. But now it feels like, yeah, of course we are. Like, what else will we be doing? Because it's so powerful, right? And we do see in our clients how powerful it is when they start healing stuff and when we start healing the old wounds and how our reality shifts and how we shift. And it's just amazing and so multidimensional too, right? The potential that we have as humans to move beyond this and then still brings us back to being really human too. I find that sometimes it's like that work, that expansiveness, also helps us really enjoy all the small moments so much more than before.
Definitely. And, you know, what was crazy, you know, I think sometimes this is why I think it's so important to have a process around trusting our own intuition and guidance. Because if you kind of logically sat down, you know, last year I did kind of 10 hours a week for like 45 weeks last year, just emotional healing sessions, and I was, because I was like a sponge, and I was like, wow, you know, understanding, like you said, the ramifications of internal healing or external shifts, and really understanding the parameters and really seeing what was possible as I released the principles of emotional self-healing, seeing what my clients were capable of creating for themselves, educated me and gave me a new perception on what was possible, which is what we need to be able to guide that, you know, next level in. And so my husband hadn't been able to really connect with his purpose and his career for, like, we've been married 9 years. And so we really sat down and thought about how much he was striving in his career to get a promotion, to get close to the boss, to buy the business, to then be wealthier, to then buy more businesses to make them wealthier, to then be a multimillionaire. And then I'm like, and then what? And he said, so that we could move to the country and have more time together as a family. And I was like, what? And I said, let's do that now, shall we? Like, shall we just can we bypass the 40 years of struggle and difficulty? And so we intended that I would become the financial provider of the family, and that my husband would have time to just, you know, be and just do what he wants to do. And so we were going to save up for 6 months, and we were going to have it all planned and organized, and we made the decision. And he got, what do they call it? Given notice, 2 weeks, that his position was now null and void, and he was losing his job. And we were like, I was, you know, that close for a minute to be like, and then I went, yeah, we're doing it sooner. And it was so cool because, do you know what I mean? I think we think sometimes these twists and turns are actually taking us in a bad direction, but that took exactly where we're meant to be. We've been living the country for 9 months. I've been financially providing for my family for a year. My husband's become a stay-at-home dad. He helps out more with our 2 children. He has renovated our house over the last 5 months. And so he hasn't been doing nothing, but he's been doing what his soul is really called to do, which has thus given me permission to really deepen into my work and really allow myself to have the hours to devote myself to my calling and my passion and my work. So I think it's lovely for people to go, you know, don't presume, you know, when you set intentions, don't presume that what manifests is bad news. I believe that anything that manifests is always something you've specifically called in, even if you don't know it yet. And that it will align to something beautiful and magical, because we have to believe that everything's conspiring for our good. Yeah.
Yeah. And that shifts everything, doesn't it? Because that's such a powerful story. It's like, ask for what you truly desire, and then let go and call it in, and just be open so you can receive it. And every time we fight against what's coming up into our lives, especially stuff we can't change, right? We use that energy in a way that isn't helping us move forward. And instead of doing that, we can be like, okay, so if this is for my highest good, how can I use it in the best way, right? And then everything can become a possibility to grow and to expand and to have more joy and to use this in a good way instead of fighting against it, because we can't really fight against life. It's just really tiring. And I do believe everything is happening to help us in some way to grow. And sometimes it's painful and it's not at all what we want, but there's something in there for us to move through so we can grow as humans and expand. And I love that. And I love how also, I think for a lot of women, because there are mostly women in you know, from our clients, I think, is that not only do we ask for things for ourselves, but we also want to create a great environment for our families and maybe support our husbands so they can do things they love and maybe have a not so traditional family, you know, configuration, and to be more with our kids and to let our husbands be more with their kids too. And it's just lovely how this expands into everything, every part of our lives too. And you've really created like your version of the dream life, right? Because this is exactly what you called in, and now you're reaping the benefits from it, which is so awesome.
I think it's really lovely that we talk about intending and we talk about, manifesting, but sometimes I think we're gauging, your dream life. Well, our dream lives are pretty similar, actually. We both want to do our healing work from nature and have our husbands be free and have ample quality time. And, I had this beautiful picture of a valley with beautiful trees and that golden sunshine pouring in and a like a little river. And, we live in a valley. There's mountains all around us now, and there's this little river. And, I think what's interesting is that my dreams and my ideal life isn't potentially what someone else wants. And sometimes we get into comparing. Some people want to live in the city, or some people want like a really visible job where they have a really big impact, and other people want to be more private. And I think it's really important to honor that what we really desire to bring forward and create for ourselves is what's right for us, and to honor that, because the heavens want us to be joyful. If there's anything that I know, they want us to be joyful. And so they want to bless us with all the things that we love, that will make us happier. That alone creates a beautiful shift on the planet.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that every time we try to compromise with who we are, we try to look like someone else or do things in a way we feel we should do, that's always when the door is just closing and things become really hard and a struggle. And every time we go in the direction of what really brings us joy and feels right for us, I always feel like things are opening up and it's so much smoother than trying to be someone else. And it's interesting how we're often tempted to try some magic formula or something that's worked for someone else instead of doing our own thing. And I love how you're so good at really following your own voice, and you have such a strong, clear kind of inner guidance going, I'm going to do it this way. I don't care if anyone else is doing that. And it's, has any of that been challenging for you, to really listen to your own voice and doing things that aren't really kind of by the rules?
I think what's interesting is that ability actually came from a great deal of suffering, where I didn't really have people when I was younger that I felt that I could look to for guidance. So out of necessity, I started really just tuning into what I felt within. And so it wasn't something that I thought, oh, this is going to be really valuable for my life, to really pay attention to my own inner guidance. It was, there's no one around me that I feel I can trust, I feel I can rely on for guidance. I actually need to know what I need to do. So out of necessity, it was forged when I was younger, but then it was dormant for so long. And I mean, I studied world politics at university. I did 4.5 years. I studied Japanese for 10 years. I did 2 12-month exchanges. I just received a job to work in the local government in Japan. There's only 2 positions offered from Australia every year. I received one. Drum roll, please. My intuition told me, don't take it. And I was like, what do you mean don't take it? 4.5 years, 10 years of speaking Japanese. I was born for this job. And I couldn't escape this feeling that I know meant don't take it. And I remember just crying, and I prayed and I said, please tell me why. Nothing. And I was like, and I just think it was, these moments are just so beautiful, because am I going to work this out on my own? Am I going to use my head? Or do I just have to implicitly trust? And that's what I think makes this process really easy, is that it's not about the external choices and how it looks to other people. For me, it's the process of honoring the guidance, no matter what it asks you to do. Because within 12 months, I had my now husband rock up saying he wanted to marry me. And I just said, I don't even want to talk about that with you. I had to wait. And then I got told, I'm like, this is your husband. I was like, all right, then, shall we get married then? And I just ended up moving to New Zealand. And I know that your life has had similar movements where you just go, what the heck is going on here? I have no idea what's going on. But the more you can trust that process of allowing it to be revealed and allowing yourself to lose I lost so many boyfriends because I knew they weren't right for me, but then you don't know what's coming. But what's important, I believe, is that our guidance and our intuition isn't going to paint a crystal clear picture of exactly what's coming, because they want you to be deeply devoted to the process of trusting more than being yoked to the outcome of the benefits that will bring. Because I didn't know that I was going to be led to this career, and I didn't know that I adore my husband. I would never have picked him off the shelf. But I know now he's my one. He's the one that's best for my soul, for me to expand and grow it and be all that I can be with. So, yeah, I really love just honoring that I have to trust my own intuition. And so I'll do that with journaling. You know, I'll gather my crystals, and, you know, one of the most consistent practices that it's really blessed my life is every day doing a gratitude list and a desires list. And every day I'll at least 10 things I'll express gratitude for. And every day I'll go, okay, right now I really desire this. And that's been very hard for me to honor what I really want. But what happens, and I've got one little book that I consistently write it in, and the things that I in the past put on my desires list end up on my gratitude list. It's just a matter of time. And so what I know is that I allow that process just to continue to manifest things that are the external verification or manifestation of that internal longing and desire. And I have no idea how long it will take, but I know it will come.
I love that. That's so great. Yeah. And I do think it's that trusting. And the more you do it, the more you know it works, even if you have no idea how. And even if each time it's a bit like, oh, wow, I hope it's going to work this time, because it has so many times in the past. You do kind of learn how to trust that, the unknown, right? And knowing it's going to guide you into things that we couldn't have imagined. And that's how, I guess that's the benefit from it, isn't it? It's like beyond what we could have created if we'd only been working, like acting out of with our like minds and thinking it, you know, and planning and yeah, that's so beautiful. I love how you do that. And it's interesting with the stories with your husband as well, how it works in all areas of our lives, because it's like our business is just one part, but then how we do business is also how we can do life and how we do relationships. And then at one point it's like you wake up and you go, actually, it's all integrated now. I'm not a different person when I'm doing business or when I'm doing marketing or when I'm with my family or when I'm with my friends or with strangers. It's like at some point it kind of merges, doesn't it? And then you feel whole and you have no parts where you're like pretending or trying to be someone else.
And it was interesting that last year was a big year for me to integrate many different parts of myself. And I think we, you know, when we're doing work with a client, it's, you know, we become these amazing channels and, you know, you fully step into your wise self. You're like, ooh, that was good. I'm like, well, that was good. That wasn't mine. You know, that was really good guidance. That was a really good suggestion. And I remember last year, I realized that I used to pray and have all these processes prior to doing my client work. And then I was just like, this is interesting. Why am I not doing that for my own life? Why am I not praying and intending and bringing my best self forward when I'm with my husband or my children or my friends or when I'm at church? And so for me, last year, I don't know if you know with Fiverr.com, but I played a little game on Fiverr.com last year. And I signed up as an intuitive, and I said that I would offer intuitive affirmations, $5 a pop. And what was so powerful for that was that I put myself on a 24-hour return cycle. And so what that meant was that where I would turn my intuition on and off and serving my clients or focusing on my business, I was still going on and off. But in order to do those intuitive readings, I had to be able to stay connected to it. And so sometimes I'd be cooking dinner, thinking of this person's name, receiving their information while I'm cooking dinner so that I could quickly type it back before my evening sessions began. And, you know, I got paid $5 a pop to do that. And it was not the money. What I was doing was I was checking my connection. because these were people I didn't know, and they always gave me feedback. They'd always rate me out of like 5 stars, and they'd give some feedback, and sometimes I was off. And sometimes I realized, wow, and so it taught me the process of how to find that beautiful connection and how to allow it to come through. And I taught myself to stay open instead of contracting, turning off and turning on. And I think, it's really valuable to learn how to bring all of who you are into your relationship with your partner and your children and your clients and your friends and the world at large. Because then it's consistent. And I go, when something is consistent, it elicits trust. And when people can trust that you will consistently stay the same, that can be relied upon. And in this ever-changing world, what people want is something that they can rely upon, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. And I love that. I think that's so important. I think people can feel that even from behind the screens, right, as we work online. And it's just, yeah. And people are, they show you who they are, right? And they are that person in all areas, and then it kind of seeps through into everything. And that's something you're really good at with like social media and when you share videos, because it feels like it's always the same person. And something that I love, and that kind of links in really well with the fact that you're going to be one of the guest teachers in my new program. Yay! So happy about that. I get to play with you a bit, and everyone gets to benefit from your wisdom and your funkiness, right? And your dancing, maybe.
I love dancing.
Is that you're really great at really showing people who they are, and also you'll be doing some shadow work, because that's one of your big things. And I love that, because it's like really about showing also the parts that we feel ashamed of, or the parts that we don't really want to own, right? And how can we share those parts with our tribes? And you do this so well, like you're so good at sharing. And because it's kind of like a fine art. I find sharing in a way that feels authentic without oversharing or without it feeling a bit icky. And it can be, I find it hard to describe what the balance is, but when you read something or you see something, you go, that's it.
We're good judges. We can tell whether someone's nailed it or not.
Right.
But when we're trying to do it, it's like, is this too much? Is it too personal? Is it an overshare? Am I being too confronting? Am I being too challenging? Am I being too selfish? Am I blowing my own trumpet too much? Do you know what I mean? And
yes.
I think it's so, so lovely for us to, I think I made a big shift in going, my marketing is my free teaching to the world. And I think that really supported me to go, because, there's so much in your news feed on Facebook. And I'm like, am I really going to put this in front of people's faces? Like, why do they need to see this from me right now? Like, shut up, Lysa, go away, go sit down. They don't need to hear about you. But what I realized is that it's not my work. It's the message behind my work that I believe deeply in our own capacity to heal our own hearts. And I believe that this beautiful change that is happening in the world is only possible as we're equipped with the skills and the understanding and the steps and the trust to be able to deepen into our own healing, to be able to really look at our shadow. Because shadow work should really be called light work, because the great truth is that our light is actually trapped in our shadow. And one of the shadow aspects of myself that I've really reclaimed this year is my neediness. My neediness. And I really judge this part of myself. I'm like, you're so needy. Shut up and sit down. Put that away. That's gross. That is just, put that stuff away. And what I realized is that, when we receive clients that are needy, we go, oh, I love you. Let me hold you. Let me wrap my arms around you. And I'm like, now wait on. Why is it okay for everyone else to be needy and not me? So it was so powerful to be able to take my neediness and go, that's my relatability. If I can help people to understand that I know I'm needy, that I need a lot of love, that I need a lot of encouragement, then it will make it okay for them to be with that part of themselves as well. So I don't know whether I will call that my relatability or my transparency. Maybe my transparency would be the light aspect of my neediness, is that my clients are needy. often, well, all of my clients always have experienced an unsupportive relationship with their mother. So the primary needs of nurture and care were absolutely not there. And so there are needs in my clientele that I can perceive because I was there, and that actually bonds us and unites us because we can comprehend one another's suffering. So I think it's really important for healers and leaders and intuitives to just give themselves permission just to focus on one aspect that they really find unworthy or disgusting or it shouldn't be seen or displayed, and really take it and just really try to honor that part of yourself and let it come out, because that's when you're actually going to attract and call in your mirrors, the people that are really going to vibe with your message and what you have to offer. And that is the most glorious thing. Every time I meet with someone interested in my work, it's like this reunion. It's like she'll be like, I just binged out on your whole YouTube channel. I have to work with you. Or I just read your book. Oh my God, I related to this and this and this. And they're these, like you said at the beginning of the call, these are soul connections. So the more we can give ourselves permission to reveal exactly who we are, warts and all, shadow and all, it means that we can actually do the work with the people that are called to do that very work as well.
Yeah, that's so true. I love how you describe that. And I find that every time, because I don't really like sharing about my own stuff. And you know this, Lysa, I'm like pretty secretive. And I'm like, this is not so interesting. But every time I do, people go, oh, I'm so glad you shared that. Because I've been thinking about that thing. And it's so great to hear how you moved through that. Because it's like we always secretly kind of think that for other people it's much smoother and that it's not so hard and that they have it all figured out. So every time we see someone else going, actually I don't, I was just kind of winging it until I got it. It's just so nice. It's like exhaling, right? Going, oh, I'm going to be okay too then. And it's just, I love that because it creates those real connections instead of feeling like, because the more we kind of pretend, even if it's not consciously, that we've got it all figured out, we're kind of putting pressure on other people to kind of figure things out and have it all together too. And I think that's really awful because it just creates more pressure for everyone to kind of maintain this image of, perfect mom, perfect wife, perfect healer. And I guess as intuitives too, we're supposed to be, I guess, in a certain way. And
who came up with that? I
know. I don't know either who came up with that, because it's like, actually, you can do whatever as far as I'm concerned, people can do whatever they want. And I would still trust in them as a healer, unless it's, do things that are, I don't know, illegal. Well, although it depends on what it is, right?
But you can tell where it's coming from. But I think we have our own rule list around, being full of love and light and always coming across this way and that. I do some dirty dancing, I'll turn on some funky beats and I'll whip out some body shaking goodness. And I'm like, I don't want people to know this about me. And I'm just like, why? Why you are not allowed to be sensual? Why you are not allowed to celebrate your sexuality and be with that part of yourself? So I think what's fun is that this adventure is about claiming and owning all that we are and giving permission for everyone else to do the same.
Yes, and that's so important, because the more we do that, the more it becomes normal, right? To be who you are and that there's nothing that's wrong. And it just creates that connection with what you said earlier, our perfect tribe. And it's not going to be the same for everyone. And that's great, because there's so many healers out there and there's a tribe for everyone, right? So we don't have to compete or anything like that. Yeah, I love that. And I can't wait for you to do the guest teaching in my program, because it's going to be so awesome and powerful. And for those of you who haven't worked with Lysa or haven't, been in her live classes, or, if you haven't discovered her yet, do get her book. Go to her website, find her on Facebook, because she's amazing and there's so much depth, and it's like you go right to the core of things. So there will be a live call, like a masterclass in the program, where you'll be doing some shadow work and like working specifically with people who are on the call, because it's always more interesting when it's like specific and it's our stuff and it's not just general, although it gives us like inspiration and wisdom and sometimes things we can use. It's like of that kind of one-on-one attention or something really, really specific to work on. And what else was I going to see? And so this program is all about how to infuse more of more of your intuition and guidance, and how to use the energy tools and the powerful energy processes that we all use, I think, as healers and intuitives and creatives in our work, but not necessarily into our businesses. So this is why I've created this program, so that we can blend the powerful energy work with practical things, and also accountability, because it's like a 6-month program. So you'll receive lots of support from the group, from me, because there are 2 one-on-one sessions and monthly live calls, plus 2 guest teachers, so Lysa and my lovely friend, our lovely friend, Lara Waldron, to do some money work as well, because money is always like one of the big things, and all this stuff around healers, not, that we don't need money. We can just do this because we love it, and we don't need anything to pay our bills and all that stuff. So that's going to be really wonderful and powerful as well. And so it starts on September 26th. And I can't wait for those of you who feel called to join us for this program and create some magic with us. And for those of you also who want to get in touch with me for a free 30-minute business alignment session, it's really time to focus on one thing or a few things that may be out of alignment for you in your business or in your life, and then it affects your business. So I would love to do a 30-minute session with you for free if you're feeling called to work with me, but want to know if it's a good fit and if this is right for you, because I really want to call in the women who feel called to work, to do deep work, and also to connect in with the joy and the ease and the flow in business. So I'm, really calling in the people who are ready for this. You can be scared and ready, but when it's right for you, right? And I trust that everyone who signs up knows that this is right for them. So do get in touch with me. You can send me a private message or email me, or go through my contact page on my website. And so, Lysa, where can we find you? And can you quickly just say what it is that you offer, please?
So I'm a heart healer. So I do emotional healing. So, a lot of my clients have unsupportive relationships with their mothers, their fathers, life, men. A lot of people do that inner work to be able to bring love to all the parts of who they are, so that they can manifest what they want outside of themselves. So lysablack.com.
Yay. Thank you so much. And do find Lysa on Instagram and on Facebook. And you've got great videos as well. And you've done a bunch of interviews. I've seen you connect with people. So thank you so much for being here today. And I can't wait to connect with you more. And thank you to everyone watching this. And I hope to meet you again and connect with you even deeper.
Beautiful. Thank you, darling. So fun. I love these conversations. I forget these things have happened.